We are live. And you know what time it is. Welcome to another episode of The Overload, a fantasy podcast. We do all the research so that way you don't have to. We have a special guest for you guys tonight. On the bottom of the screen, we got Steve Falco. This guy has gone to where many have not. He is the CEO of Front Office Pros. Welcome to the show, my brother. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great, Manny. It's great to be here with you and Darrell. I'm really excited about, I think we're going to be talking some pre-draft rookie running backs. So it's a pleasure to be on the Dynasty Overload. So I'm excited.
All right. And to my right, I got my guy, Darrell Shelor, a.k.a. Fantasy Genius. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling amazing. Good to connect with y'all. Looking forward to a fun show. Gonna have a great time with these running back rankings. There's a lot of meat out here on the running back table this year.
Good deal, good deal. So we got a special show for you guys today, and we are going to be talking pre-draft rookie rankings. Let's kick this thing off with the consensus number one. I believe that everybody has the same number one. Bijan Robinson, number one. Does anybody disagree?
No, it's nothing to disagree about.
You got agreement from me.
For 2 years now. The hype is swelling. It's crazy. Even in Superflex leagues, he is the consensus 1-1. Best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley. He's the man.
Good deal. Good deal. I got a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Would you take somebody other than Saquon Barkley? I mean, sorry, not Saquon Barkley. It's practically a Saquon Barkley clone, right? Other than Bijan Robinson at 101, and why?
I mean, I think there's a lot of argument to drafting Bijan regardless, and then at that point, if you have better running backs on your dynasty team, then go ahead and trade them to get whatever assets you can. The running back life cycle is short, right? Once they get to around 27 years old, they're starting to decline. 28, 29, they're off the cliff. So anytime you can reset that running back clock, if you will, it's beneficial. So Bijan Robinsons don't grow off trees. So, you gotta, if you got the 101, man, you should be excited that you have it, and you got to take advantage of it, I feel like.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. So the number two guy that I have on my list is Jahmyr Gibbs. Does anybody have a different number two on their list? All right. Shelor, why should the people take a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, even at 102 in Superflex drafts?
So let's dig in. So quarterback is always a position that you want to actually grab, right? But the thing is, quarterback is not a sure thing. We don't know what we're going to get at quarterback. What you're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs is someone that actually comps to a Jamal Charles, a Alvin Kamara, can do it all. When he actually got carries at Alabama consistently, he tore it up in the run game. But guess what? He got hands of a wide receiver. He has great contact balance. You can actually see all the different pieces. I mean, I was on him even when he was at Georgia Tech, and so many people were like, who's this guy? I remember putting a couple folks on, and they were like, oh, this dude was good when they started looking at the tape. But then now he transfers to Alabama, and my sleeper now is literally number 2 back in the class. So whereas I thought I was going to steal him like I did Alvin Kamara when he came out, it's on now, so I got to go get my guy early. So, everything you want in the back, I think it's even debatable as far as a fantasy asset. Does he have the same potential to actually supersede from a fantasy production standpoint in year one? Bijan Robinson. To me, it depends on the landing spot. So, I love me some Jahmyr Gibbs. That's where I'm at on him. I'd love to hear from you guys, though.
Good deal. Steve, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jahmyr Gibbs is the best receiving running back in this draft?
I think he is, and I think that's the appeal for why people are interested in him. I feel most leagues are probably PPR. I feel like standard is kind of an afterthought. So because of that, there's going to be a lot of interest around him. I like him too, and I do have him too as well. I'll be curious to see where landing spot is, because I got to be honest with you, we were going to be talking about running backs today. I was like, oh man, because I usually really deep dive in after the draft, because to me it's like you've got the production, but then to me the other two pieces that are huge are draft capital and landing spot. So depending on what the draft capital looks like for Gibbs in a landing spot, it's going to make a huge difference. My one little concern with him is he's 5'9", 199. To me, 5'9" is like the borderline cutoff point. Anything lower than 5'9" is kind of like, I can't even remember a running back lower than 5'9" that has really done well and getting a ton of carries and targets. So he's kind of on the border for me. I'm not that concerned by it, but it is a slight concern.
How tall was Maurice Jones-Drew? I can't remember. I know he was pretty short. I don't know if
I'd have to look that up.
I want to say 5'7" for MJD, and he was thick too.
Yeah, he was thick. He was thick.
Yeah, you kind of had the thunder thighs, man. So a little different, man. But what I do like about Gibbs is that speed piece. That 4.36, you see it on the field, and when you start seeing that elite running away from elite talent, elite defenses in the SEC, to me that actually changes the game for me, because that kind of answers a lot of those questions for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I usually look at, from what I've seen, what I heard, I think actually Daniel Jeremiah said this, so I got to give him credit. But he said that the average profile of running back, if you look at last year based on scrimmage yards, they were 5'10", 209 pounds with a 40-yard dash of 4.50. So that's kind of like the blueprint to me. Like if they're around there, they kind of pass the test, and then we kind of go from there. But like you said, that speed is undeniable for Gibbs.
Absolutely. And Kamara, 5'10", 215. So, and he can't get any taller, but we can say that, hey, he can possibly add some weight as he gets stronger as the years go on. And that's just looking at Kamara right now. I don't know what Kamara was coming in, so I just want to point that out. So let me get back on my list. My number 3 running back is Zach Charbonnet at number 3. This guy is a big back with hands, dual threat. This guy is special. Great size. Do you guys have a different number 3 on your list?
No, look at this. We're getting along just fine. Getting ready to fight. I got my boxing gloves out, and we just gonna agree. But definitely love me some Zach Charbonnet. To kind of give y'all context, for me, he was my 1-1 last year. I was very disappointed that he actually ended up going back, but never mad at anybody going back to school. I would have taken him over Breece Hall. To me, he's Nick Chubb with hands, and that's why I like him. I think he has the full body that you're looking for to be able to handle a 3-down workload. I think he's a complete back. He can catch the ball and he can pass block. So all those things coming together is why I love me some Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to get at least second-round draft capital, and would love to see him in somewhere like a Miami. Really just taking that team to another level. That would be the perfect spot for me to see him go. But that's my opinions on him.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Charbonnet, I kind of view him as a better James Conner. James Conner is like, I guess I shouldn't say he's James Conner like, because he's James Conner, but whatever, Charbonnet is that much better. I agree. I actually could see Charbonnet, in my opinion, depending on everything, how it unfolds in the draft, I could see him actually leapfrogging Gibbs it too. I think it's pretty close.
I can. That was my next question. I was like, because without rankings and who's talented, who's more talented, and things of that nature, landing spot. If he goes to Miami, there is a chance that this guy can be RB1 overall when the season is over with. Like, he could outproduce Bijan based off of landing spot. Let's just say that Bijan Robinson goes somewhere like, let's just say the Vikings. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's say he goes to the Vikings, and let's say that Dalvin Cook is still there. Madison is there. They want to run all three guys, right? Of course, Bijan is the most talented there at age and everything, but he doesn't get the production because he's sharing the backfield with somebody else. That's the picture I'm painting. But then you have a guy like Zach Charbonnet goes to his own backfield. When he gets to Miami, he's going to knock those guys to the side. Those guys literally become handcuffs, okay? So there's a possibility where Charbonnet could go somewhere where he's going to get massive work, and he can end up as the RB1 for this year. But it's going to be interesting as we watch this draft class through the years. There's going to be some guys that trend up. Some guys are going to trend down. I remember the year when Nick Chubb and Sony Michel came out, right? People were in on Sony Michel. People were out on the other guy. And look at today. Look at how things. So it's you can say that Nick Chubb is the more, of course, obviously he's more talented. He got the massive workload. I remember when he pushed Carlos Hyde to the side, and we were like, wow, Nick Chubb is here. And Sony Michel was just steady, normal, average, and then Nick Chubb just showed that he's a superstar. So you can see something similar with a lot of these backs that we have in our rankings. Moving on to number 4. On my list, I have Devin Achane. And I think this is where we start to defer. Does anybody have a different number 4?
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. You go first.
You sure? All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a little bit of a caveat, or I'm going to preface what I'm going to say here. I think 4 through like 9 could be a complete scramble. Like, honestly, they're all kind of around there. So I don't like, as far as tiers go, I think they're all kind of bunched up. But I have Tyjae Spears as my 4th guy.
Same.
Oh, there we go.
That's awesome. I have Tyjae as my number 5, and both home run hitters. Those are guys that I feel have major upside. Now, Spears obviously he's a bigger back, so he has that over Achane. But Achane guy that I feel like you give this guy the ball on the 20-yard line, he can go 80 yards. So can Tyjae. Tyjae is he's a dynamic pass catcher. But yeah, talk to me about Spears, you two.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think he's a complete back, and I think that's why I have him up there. Obviously, he went to a smaller school in Tulane, so it's not one of the big SEC or type of schools. But if you look at his production, he's produced a lot, and the way he runs the ball. Excuse me, I think he's electric. So I think if he's at the right spot, I think he could be really good.
Yeah, for me, when he went to the Senior Bowl, he shut it all the way down. He was definitely on my sleeper list. I was doing pre-draft stuff. I was able to slide him in the 3rd round. Nobody really knew what was going on. And these small school guys are literally the guys that really come in and surprise and really can shock everyone. I would love to see him actually in like Denver, being that pass catching back for them, actually going in along with Javonte as well, because we know they're going to kind of have that as a timeshare. I think that would be a perfect fit in like a Sean Payton-led offense. I think he has a lot of talent, a lot of ability. What's so interesting is he actually has the ability to be a 3-down back. Starting out, literally being that pass catcher. So give me those fantasy points, sliding them in as an RB2. I've been grabbing trades so I can try to get right at the top of round 2, at 2-1, 2-2 range. I think we did a mock. I grabbed him at like 111 or something. I believe that he's that guy. And I'm grabbing him everywhere I can to really start to anchor that running back room for me.
Absolutely. And landing spot, if he goes to a great landing spot, it's game over. If he goes to one of these spots, like let's say Miami seems to be the perfect spot because they need a back. Also ATL, I think ATL needs a back. I think 2 or 3 teams that need a back, and if he goes there, man, you're talking about this guy possibly going at 105. I'm just saying it could happen. I love Tyjae Spears a lot. Like Steve said, a lot of these backs between 4 to 9, they're going to be jumbled up. Draft capital and landing spot is literally what's going to cause some people to go certain guys over certain guys, but we know talent. But yeah, Achane and Spears were so close for me. So you guys know my number 5 already. What is you guys' number 5? I'm interested.
So for me, it's Kendrick Miller. He literally jumps off the screen for me. Manny, we talked about this at length. I went in trying to find a way to like Quentin Johnston. I still haven't found it yet. And what I found when I started looking at the tape is I literally saw that Kendrick Miller was making all the plays. The offense literally ran through him. Yep. So he has the ability. He is a game breaker. He looks like almost like LaDainian Tomlinson a little bit. Maybe it's the TCU piece that I'm kind of looking at, and I'm kind of seeing it. But he's electric, man. When he gets the ball, he doesn't get caught from behind. He's a game breaker. Really, that inside zone scheme is actually ideal for him. Like, I would love to see him being able to kind of navigate like a zone read type system, but I think he can fit in a lot of different places. So I think he definitely has all the ability in the world. I think he is a perfect back for modern offense. He's actually ran out of that shotgun, and he has good hands. So I'm a big fan of him. Hasn't quite turned 21 years old yet. I think he's about to shut it all the way down. So looking forward to him actually making an impact.
I love it. I mean, I love Kendrick Miller. The sad part is Kendrick Miller is number 6 on my list. So it's like I continue to go down, but at least I'm within range. For me, like I said, some of these guys landing spots and draft capital is going to really determine where, and this is pre-draft rookie ranking for me. So it's going to change. It's going to stay fluid. Who is your number 5, Steve?
Yeah, so this guy made a huge jump after his pro day. You guys will probably know who I'm saying after I say that. But for me, it's Israel Abakanda. He's got the ideal size at 5'11", 216 pounds. So both of those marks are checked. Super productive in college, ton of touchdowns. That's also something that you want to – that's a good trend. That means that he could continue it. And then they said he almost had a 4.3 40. So it's like, if you look at his pro day numbers, he would have been being the number 1 guy as far as athletic testing, compared to everybody else. So, now what's going to happen with draft capital landing spot, we don't know. But at this point in time right now, I'm really liking Israel Abakanda, and he made a huge jump for me.
I mean, I love Izzy. And even for me, even if he gets 4th round draft capital, it's not going to change where I draft this guy. This guy is special. Good size, good speed, home run hitter. That's what people fail to realize. This guy had a bunch of runs over 20 yards. He's like a complete back, and he's, maybe because it's Pitt, I don't know. For whatever the reason is, this guy's being disrespected, and it took his pro day for people to see what a lot of us have already known and seen through tape. Shelor, thoughts on Izzy?
You already know, man. He's literally my number 6. I've been beating the train with it. I'm a big fan of his. I think he has all the abilities. Like I said, that size speed combo is major. When you're talking to coming in at over 220 pounds and being able to run like that is RB1 type stuff. I mean, those are the different things. In a different draft class, it's not as loaded with backs. I think you see them going, 2nd round draft capital. But I think what happens with a lot of the backs this year is you're going to see lower draft capital because the position is so deep. I think that's going to really allow you to grab some steals in the 2nd round.
Absolutely. I love it. For me, I had Izzy at 7. So like I said, I just continue to be one rank down. So we are now on number 6. I already said mine. Mine is Kendrick Miller. We've already talked about Kendrick Miller. Who is your number 6? Well, your number 6 is Izzy, Shelor. So Steve, who is your number 6?
Yeah, my 6 is Tank Bigsby. I don't know why he keeps getting disrespected. I think he played really well in Auburn and the SEC. And I don't know. I mean, he fits again. What I look for: 6 foot, 210. He has the ability. He had also had a 4.56 40, so a little bit slower, but he has the ability. I think I see him almost as a Nick Chubb light. Nick Chubb doesn't get involved in the passing game that much. Most likely, Bigsby won't either. So that's the concern, right? You want an all-purpose back that's going to be there all 3 downs. Now, I was encouraged when I saw him in the combine drills. I thought he looked pretty smooth catching the ball. It didn't look clunky. It didn't look like he wasn't able to do it. So for me, that's why I don't understand why I keep on seeing people have Roschon Johnson ahead of Bigsby, and I don't understand that. But maybe you guys are one of those.
Like, I love Tank Bigsby. He has the ability to catch passes if he's used in that way, but I don't think he will. He's an underrated receiver, but it all depends on where he goes and what he does. It's like if you use it's like Derrick Henry right now. Derrick Henry has the capability to catch passes, but he doesn't because they don't throw any to him. I love Tank Bigsby. I have Tank ranked as number 9 on my list. Sheila, give me some thoughts. Give me your thought on Tank Bigsby. We've talked about it the last episode. So yeah, go ahead and fight us on this. But I have him 9.
Listen, I am not a member of the Tank Bigsby fan club.
Oh no.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
He looked a little smooth in the drills, but the film just doesn't line up for me. Now I will say this. Auburn typically does not have the same productivity and the same talent as some of the SEC teams. So some of what we're seeing could just be a reflection of the offensive line. But I see him missing holes. I see him not fighting through yards and contact the way I would expect him to do with the name Tank. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah.
Your name is Tank and you're not operating like a tank, I'm not really excited. He literally is number 12 on my list.
Ooh.
I have him and Roschon Johnson literally side by side. But I would give a slight edge to Roschon Johnson, honestly. So I'm not a fan. Now, unless he gets like one of those ideal landing spots, like if he ends up in Dallas and now he is the Zeke replacement there, he has to be in a situation, because the thing for me, it's all about fantasy points. If you're not going to be using the passing game, and I got a bunch of guys that are, I'm out.
Okay.
That's totally fair. That's fair.
I feel you. Hey, Razman, who is your number 6?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I had to catch up with you. Give me the rundown.
No, who is your number 6 on your list?
As far as running backs?
Yeah, running backs.
Right now it's going to be Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker. Okay.
I like Sean.
And yeah, I like Sean too. I have Sean. Where do I have Sean? I have Sean at number 8. But why do you like Sean? What does Sean bring to the table for you?
Listen, I'm a Sean fan because I believe that Sean has not only incredible talent, great body size. I believe he can do it all as far as catching and receiving. I think that this guy's extremely talented. I just don't think that he's I think that no one's got him up or thinking about him like a Charbonnet or something like that. But I would say he's Charbonnet-like.
Yeah.
Light in that sense.
In the fantasy community, I've seen people love Sean Tucker and I've seen people hate Sean Tucker. Some say that Sean Tucker could bust, but that's about any player could bust. Honestly, I mean, you can tear your ACL and it's a wrap. Do you have any thoughts on Sean Tucker, Steve?
Yeah, it goes back to that. He's like on that border. He's 5'9". He's a shorter back. I just don't know if he's going to end up. I see him more of a change of pace guy because of his speed. So the question will be, will the volume be there to make it where he's worth having on your roster? That's my concern.
Good deal. And Sheila, for you, where does Sean Tucker rank on your list?
Sean Tucker is my number 8, and I
Me
like
too.
Right, so I got him right here at 8. I think he has a lot of ability, but it's the speed for me, right? To me, I think he plugs in. He's a perfect candidate like that mid to late second round for me. I've seen people take him higher. I don't think you do that in this class. But for me, his speed is the big piece. He's going to come in and run it out that 4.3. So when he comes in, to me, he is a Tony Pollard type back that's going to actually come along slowly, be part of a backfield, and then have the potential to actually really use that explosive ability to go ahead and earn his way on the field more. So I'm a big fan of Sean Tucker. see him as a 3-down guy, but I think that explosiveness is what actually gets people on the field, and I think he's going to be able to do that immediately when he gets into, a camp and gets into a situation where he has a chance.
Good deal. My number 7, we are on number 7 now. My number 7 was Izzy. We've already discussed Izzy, so I'm not going to get back into Izzy again. Razman, who's your number 7?
My number 7 is Izzy. Good stuff, Manny.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, we're just gonna agree there.
Okay. Sheila, who's your number 7?
Zach Evans. He is the forgotten man in this draft class that has 3-down potential. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the athletic ability, he has the hands, like he has it all. And what's crazy is he literally is, I would say, Cam Akers with vision. So he's gonna have the athletic profile, has all the different pieces, but he's not missing everything like Cam Akers does. He's not running the back offensive lineman. So I'm a big fan of Zach Evans. Definitely being able to kind of see him and Kendry Miller on the field together. The big thing is he actually transferred, right? So one side is, oh yeah, he transferred because he couldn't get beyond Kendry Miller. But before he got hurt, he had actually overtaken Kendry Miller in that backfield. So after he got hurt, he came back. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer, so that way I'm not in this timeshare situation. And he literally did his thing last year as well in a new system and a new scenario. So I think for me, that shows the versatility to be able to pick up a different scheme and to still actually show elite traits and elite ability. So I'm a big fan of Zach Evans. I think he is probably the most disrespected back in this class because he has Charbonnet type talent. I mean, you can make a case for him being 3 or 4, but at this point, you're seeing him slide down to the bottom of round 2, and I think that's a mistake. He has the ability to make it happen.
Okay. And Steve, who is your number 7?
I got Roschon Johnson for me. Again, 6 foot, 219, 4.58. What I like to see too is his 10-yard split. So that shows you his immediate acceleration.
Absolutely.
So you're not going to probably see him in the receiving game. He's just going to be a first or second down running back. But the other thing I like about him is because he was behind Bijan Robinson, he doesn't have as much tread on the tires. So to me, that means that could allow him to play longer in the league and have a better longevity. So I like him.
So my question for Raz is, Roschon Johnson, do you see him as a goal line back, or do you what kind of back do you think Roschon Johnson can be?
I see Roschon as Derrick Henry-like in a sense. I think that he has great potential. I think this guy he moves a lot better than you realize. And if Bijan wasn't there, we'd be talking about Roschon in a bigger light, in my opinion, because he didn't miss a beat when he came on the field.
Yeah, he's a big back. Yeah, he's a big back, man. He's a big boy. And if he goes to the right situation, he can be a guy that carves out a role similar to like a Brian Robinson.
Who was a guy that was playing for the Panthers? That running back that was playing for the Panthers those years.
Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, if he can be Jonathan Stewart, man, you got something here. I mean, it just shows you how deep this class is. For me, I have Roschon Johnson at 14 on my list. Sheila?
Yeah, I got him down there with Tank. They're 11 and 12 for me. And I think it's not a reflection of them not being good backs, right? I think that's the big thing. Like, you have to be able to draw lines in the sand and really clear divides. Yep. Like, they're not bad backs, right? It's just all. If you're grabbing those guys, you're looking at them to be goal line guys and to get your points on touchdowns. It's all about your fantasy points, right? It's nothing personal. I don't have anything against Roschon or Tank, but I just don't think the profile of what they are, right, is going to actually produce fantasy points unless you're still a dinosaur and you're still just using the standard league. Like PPR, them guys ain't catching no passes. I'm out.
I agree. Where do you have Roschon Johnson ranked, Raz, man?
I have, right now in the most drafts, I'm taking Roschon right at that 2-12, 3-1 split. but I have Roshan number 10.
Number 10. Okay. Not bad. So we are on number 8. Well, for number 8, me and Sheila already got Sean Tucker down.
Yep.
So this is going to be between Steve and Razman. Who do you guys have at 8?
I got Dwayne McBride at 8. Let's go.
Spicy.
Let's go.
Steve?
I got Kendra Miller. You guys talked about him. My concern with him is that I don't know if he's going to get involved in the pass game. So he's a big, bruising back. So, and everything that you guys said, I agree with. That's just my one concern with him.
I think that he can get involved in the passing game. Like I said, it's just all going to be where these guys go and scheme. Like a lot of these guys that we say don't get involved in the passing game, a lot of them can. Like, for example, Brian Robinson, right? He was a guy that was a bruiser at Alabama. The people questioned his hands and can he get involved in the pass? He got involved in the passing game with Washington and he did it fairly well. You don't have to have like elite, skills running routes. Sometimes it's just a dump off screen pass that turns into a 20-yard touchdown, running people over. So
not every running back is gonna catch passes. Let's just be honest here. Listen, The reason I like McBride, the guy reminds me of Nick Chubb. He's a bruising running back. He's gonna get down the field. He's gonna get those hard to get yards. I think he has a role. Some of these guys are gonna end up being Nyheim Hines because they can do it all, but they can't do anything really good. Listen, Dwayne McBride can run the ball really, really good. I like that.
At the same time, I'm with Sheila. Sheila says we are looking for the guys that have elite upside. And I'm with you, Sheila. I love PPR receiving backs, and those are the guys I target in redraft.
Nyheim Hines,
Dynasty.
James Cook.
There's a difference.
Who's these other bums that you guys
Who has ever drafted Nyheim Hines high? Said no one ever.
Plenty of guys.
Said no one ever.
Who's the bum that went to ended up going to Denver? He was in Arizona before.
Chase Edmonds.
Oh yeah, you had plenty shares of that guy.
Man,
yeah,
I remember.
Nobody wants to touch that guy.
Nobody wants to touch him now. People were super excited about him.
All right, moving on to number 9. I had Tank Bigsby. We've talked about him. What did you have at number 9, Steve?
I had Zach Evans. I had Zach Evans higher, and I do agree with you that he's been disrespected, but he just never has lived up to the hype. Former 5-star recruit. I want to say he was like one of the top players in that class, of high schoolers going to college, and him getting, I know you mentioned about Kendra Miller getting supplanted by Miller after the injury. I think he's got a lot of potential. I really do. It's just hard to say. We weren't able to see his athletic testing too much. I think he had his pro day, but he wasn't at the combine. So,
all right, Sheila, who did you have at number 9?
That was my Devin the Chain pick right there. I think he's explosive, but I think he could be more along the lines of what Razman is talking about with that Nyheim Hines guy. Because I think his role is locked in. Like, I think he's strictly a third down back. Like, I don't think he has the potential to actually develop into a 3-down or every down type back. So that's where I kind of put him down. But if he's in the right system, he gets drafted in the right spot, there is a role there for a third down running back. So if he has that role, then I think he can actually be successful. But in a pre-draft piece, I'm looking at, who puts together the full picture for me. And I think he has a limited ceiling just because of his size.
All right, Raz, who do you have at number 9?
That's where I have Zach Evans at number 9.
Okay, good deal. Moving on to number 10. I had Zach Evans at 10. Steve, who did you have at 10?
I had Devin and Shane. I know a lot of people are having him in the top 5. Mm-hmm. His weight for me is super concerning. 188 pounds, 5'8". I know he's got the speed, and that's what people are going to look at as, he's got the speed. But, and I'm not saying they're the same back. I just know as a Bills fan, right, you've got Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is a great player. He did really well. Now, they're not the same player. He was 5'7". The reality is I can't think of a guy that was 5'8" and below that has been dominant. I mean, it's very few and far between that ends up being that way.
MJD, but the weight, I got you.
The weight, right? The weight, and MJD, and MJD. What's like one guy in the past? Like, when did MJD play? Like 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Raz, who do you have at number 10?
Oh, Roshan.
All right, good deal. Moving on to number 11. That's where I had Dwayne McBride. I love him a lot. Draft capital for me is going to be telling for Dwayne McBride. I want to see how the rest of the NFL views this guy, but I love his talent. I love what he brings to the table. And he's going to be a guy that I'm targeting, hopefully, in the 3rd round if he makes it there. But draft capital tells everything. Who did you have at number 11, Shilor?
So here is where I dropped the bomb on y'all. This is where I got a guy by the name of Lou Nichols. Lou Nichols led the nation in 2021, 1,700 yards, small school prospect, has the size, has the athletic ability. When you check him out on film, he's going to blow your mind. Now, here's the thing. I'm not expecting him to get draft capital. But what I think he has the potential to be is an Arian Foster type guy. That's who I see when I watch him. And Arian Foster didn't have draft capital. He went undrafted. And he goes in a situation and now he ends up taking over literally in Houston. So I'm curious to see where he goes. Not sure where the draft capital and everything is going to be. But you'll thank me later. This is one of my sleepers. I'm grabbing them in 4th and 5th rounds of drafts and doing all kinds of fun stuff. I'm not taking them early. But as far as just pure talent, that's where I got him at. And when y'all check out the film, just hit me up, and then we'll talk about it later.
I've seen this film, man. His film's good. His film good. Where does he play again?
Listen, don't worry about any of that. All I'm telling you is just look at it. Don't worry about that.
Listen, the film looks great.
You see small school guys, and it happens every year, and they come out of nowhere, and that's all it is. And the problem is, and this is what I'm talking about, us going the extra mile. That's why we're Dynasty Overload.
Absolutely.
So while y'all sitting there laughing and having a great time, like I said, same thing for me. When I go grab an Alvin Kamara in 3rd rounds of every startup, and everybody's sitting there like, oh, I don't know who this dude is, and then he gets draft capital, he's buried behind all these guys, and then he emerges, and now he finishes the season as an RB1. You'll thank me later. I appreciate y'all.
Right now, he plays for the Nashville Vipers. No, I'm just kidding. At number 11, who do you got, Raz?
At number 11, I have Chase Brown. I love his speed. I love his wiggle. I'm loving Chase Brown.
I love Chase Brown too. I had him at 12. Who do you have at 11, Steve?
Yeah, I had Sean Tucker at 11. I kind of put him and Shane in that same bucket because they're speed guys, but they're shorter guys. So to me, it's they fit the same profile running back, and that's why I have them, right there. But I could see how it really all depends, right? It depends on what kind of preference of running back you like. Like for me, I'm prioritizing guys like Tank Bigsby and Roshan Johnson because I think that they're at least going to get that volume in 1st and 2nd down, where other guys who like Devin and Shane and Sean Tucker are like, oh, I think they could maybe have the potential, but I know they're going to be there on 3rd down and 2nd down. So it's all kind of your flavor of what you like in a running back. I feel like.
Let me jump in there. 25 more pounds on Sean Tucker than Devin the Chain.
True.
Still runs a 4.3.
True.
So he's at 205. So I think that's the big thing. I think the weight is bigger than the height for me as I'm kind of looking at it, because it's literally being able to have the body type to actually have it in there, and then also to be able to actually take that workload and everything of that nature. So that's the big difference. That's a difference for me that's like crazy. If you got 20 more pounds on Devin the Chain and he still's running and moving the same way, I think that's a different vantage point. So I think the weight is big.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think from what I've heard, at least, and who we don't really know, but the speculation is that Sean Tucker's a day 3 pick, where Shane's a day 2 pick. So in my mind, I'm kind of already sizing them up and projecting that. But yeah, I think that's definitely a fair point what you said.
Mhm.
And at number 12, I have Chase Brown. I love this guy. Phenomenal. Um, he's a dual threat guy. I just don't know what the draft capital is going to be. And I don't know what the role is going to be, but I love the talent. I love the talent. Decent size, 205. He can catch the ball. There's nothing that this guy can do. He had 3 receiving touchdowns last year. So I love Chase Brown. If I can get this guy in the 3rd round of real drafts, I'll be so excited. Who is your number 12, Steve?
I'm with you, Manny. I said Chase Brown as well. I got to say, I was super impressed by this guy in the combine. That when I was watching the combine over, it was like every time I was like, who's that guy? He had an unbelievable combine. I think it really made his stock rise immensely. But I agree with everything you said. I think he's definitely an interesting player.
Shelor, your number 12?
Number 12 is where I had Roschon Johnson. We talked about him already a little bit. Definitely had some thump to him. But when you look at it, 20 touchdowns. Like, you can't deny that he can actually has a nose for the end zone and he can actually make some things happen. But I just think he's limited because he's a 1 and 2 down, first and second down back.
Raz, your number 12?
Eric Gray, Oklahoma. Loving Eric Gray. And he can, guy can run and catch. If you're getting him this late, it's perfect.
Perfect segue to number 13. I have Eric Gray. What do you know? Who is your number 13, Shelor?
Little Tank.
That's funny. I have Tank at 13 as well.
See?
Wow.
That's it. That's my guy.
Wow.
I mean, he's just not. He just doesn't do anything that's ultra impressive to me. So he doesn't wow me.
I feel
my 13 was Dwayne McBride. So I liked what you had to say, Razman. I agree with you. I think he's a very interesting player. I think he has a potential for me to rise back up. I think he had like 5 catches, so that's the only thing. Yeah. He's just gonna be one of those 1-2 guys. But like I said from the top, really from like 4 to like 10, 11, you could see a complete scramble. After the draft is done.
At number 14, I had Roschon Johnson. It just is what it is.
Jeez.
Everything that Shelor said, I agree with. I mean, he's just one of those guys. Like, you give him the ball, he might get in the end zone, he may not. And if he's a 1 or 2 down kind of back, this is kind of where I have you. I mean, I look, I couldn't have 2 guys like this in the top 10. I already had Tank. Okay, I can't have Roschon and Tank in the top 10. I picked one of them. Okay, and I'm just hoping that Tank goes to the right spot. But Roschon, solid back. I love him. But at 14, who's your number 14, Raz?
Oh, let me get back down to my list. Sorry, guys. At 14, I'm gonna go ahead and go Deuce Vaughn. I'm gonna Deuce Vaughn right here at 14. Do it all. He just staying healthy and everything like that. A little small.
Right size.
Extremely small.
All right. Steve, what about you? 14?
Yeah, 14, I have Eric Gray. To me, he's really primarily just going to be a receiving back. The 4.63 40 is kind of not a good sign. But we are talking about 14. But this is a deep class. This is probably the deepest running back class we've seen probably since 2019. So, when we're talking about these guys and it's deep, it's a good year to have picks and being able to just take some dart throws for some of these guys because this is a really deep class.
I agree. There's going to be some guys drafted in the 4th round that are going to be like major players. Shelor, who's your number 14?
Keaton Mitchell. Listen, y'all. If you like Devin Achane, this is where when you start looking and measuring guys up, Keaton Mitchell was the guy for me. Definitely did his thing at the combine. Definitely has all the different ability. Has really been flying under the radar. definitely a guy that I want to have on any one of my teams. I'm looking at 3rd, 4th round draft capital, grabbing and stashing, and just seeing what's going on. He's in that range where when I look at someone like a Deuce Vaughn, because here's the thing, Deuce Vaughn has amazing tape, right? He has amazing tape. He gets the job done. He does a lot of different pieces. But he's literally 5'5", 170 pounds. That's not an NFL running back. That's not an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because, watching him on film, you're like, oh my gosh. When those measurables come in there, he fell off the cliff for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's off my draft board completely. I won't even draft him. If he goes undrafted, I'd consider him, but I'm not even drafting him. Your best bet is he's Darren Sproles. That's your best bet.
Yep, I'm out. I'm sorry, I want no hobbits on my team. It just is what it is. But perfect segue to number 15. I had Keaton Mitchell. This guy is a guy that I'm trying to grab everywhere. I mean, small school, who cares? The guy could play. He can be a 3-down back. Let's say, for example, he goes to a team that is starving for a back, and he's one of those guys because he might not get draft capital. Let's say he doesn't get draft capital, but he goes to a team that is RB needy, or a couple running backs go down. And then now you see this kid come out of nowhere. He's doing his thing. He could be a guy that carves out a role moving forward. But I love Keaton Mitchell. Who is your number 15, Steve?
My 15, very similar to Eric Gray. I have them in a similar tier, but it's Kenny McIntosh, 6 foot 204, 4'6", 40. He was behind a lot of really great running backs in Georgia. Was really unleashed this year as far as the receiving game goes. So I see him, being a receiving running back. But that's who I got at 15.
Okay, Razman, who's your number 15?
I got Muhammad Ibrahim.
Love him.
15.
Love him. He's tough back.
But one thing
Crazy.
I have to say, you guys are Manny, you said Keaton Mitchell, and then you said this guy could be a 3-down back. But you guys were arguing earlier that a chain couldn't be.
Look.
I mean,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Mitchell. I don't think he gets draft capital, but I also played a scenario to where a couple of running backs go down and this guy potentially gets a shot. I love him. I love his talent. I am not Nostradamus. I can't predict the future, but I just have a hunch. I have a feeling. I have a gut feeling about this guy, and I'm grabbing him everywhere. Shilor, your number 15.
Evan Hall. He's somebody that is completely off the grid for a lot of people, but I love him. He's somebody I can grab in the 4th round. 4.47. That was a big thing. I want to see that 40 time and everything come in. Has that height and that weight that you're looking for as well. He's right in that ideal range. That 5'10", 208, I think was the exact ideal. I think he's like 5'8", 5'10", 210. So I'm a big fan. I think his game translates to the NFL. I think he has some Kareem Hunt type ability as far as what I'm looking at, what I'm kind of watching through. He's good between the tackles and he makes a lot of plays. So I think a lot of times these are the kind of guys, and it just talks about the depth of this class. I was ready to go 20 deep, right? There's so many different guys in here, but it really underscores the point. It's time to sell veteran running backs. If you got a veteran running back, it's time to sell them because this class is about to come in and take over. So get ready.
I agree, man. This has been an excellent episode. Shout out to our guy, Steve. Where can the people find you on social media?
Thank you, guys. Yeah, you can follow me personally at Steve_FOP. Also, you can follow us at Front Office Pros. We just started the podcast game right before the beginning of last season. So you could follow us there on Twitter and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Front Office Pros. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Raz, where can the people find you?
Overloaded Raz on Twitter. Follow me.
Awesome. And Shilor?
At 3D Sheila on Twitter. And of course here, the Dynasty Overload Podcast. Let's go.
Awesome. You guys can find me at Manny Chakuba on Twitter. you guys possibly cannot spell that. So just look in the description. You're going to see me there. You guys can also find me at Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Been a great episode, and we will catch you guys on that next episode. Be sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor at Dynasty Overload. Catch you guys on that next episode. We out. Peace.